Hello guys, in our today's video we are going to see about some advanced concepts from object oriented programming. Concepts like polymorphism, inheritance, single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and method overriding and method overloading. So these are just some concepts from object oriented programming that you should be familiar with, and in our today's video we are going to deep dive into these concepts. If you have not seen our previous video where we are talking about how you can create a class, how you can create an object, then you should definitely check that video. That video will be helpful for you to understand this video. That being said, take up your pet with you because you are going to need your pet's help to understand these concepts. So without further delay, let's get started. So let's start with our first concept, that is polymorphism, and I hope you got your pet with you because we are going to talk about animals to understand these concepts. Your pet is nothing but an animal, right? I hope that's not offensive. Let's try to create one class for animals. Let's write class. So class is going to be our blueprint for animal, okay, and then I'm going to create init method in it self what happened here, that sounds right, and we will create one let's say we will create one function speak. Okay, and we will return something, let's say animal sound. Okay, so we have created one animal class, and in that animal class we have one method which by using which our animal is speaking. So we can create object out of it, and we can do all the stuff that we did with our phone example, just like this. Like we have an animal here and we have its objects. So let's take an example of pets. For in case of pets, some people have cat as a pet, some people have dog as a pet, and some people even have reptiles. Some people have big pythons in their house as a pets. Lot of people have lot of hobbies to keep pets. Like some people even have a tiger as a pet, snake as a pet, maybe a lizard as a pet. Some people, recently I saw some people have ants as their pets also. Crazy world, right? So let's take a general example of a cat and a dog. Our animal class is nothing but a base class, or we can also call that it as a parent class. I will write that here quickly. Parent class. So animal class is nothing but a base or a parent class, and we are going to create two different subclass. Let's say one subclass is going to be our dog, okay, and in that we are going to have init method just in case if we need it, but for now we don't need it, so I will just put a pass statement in it. And speak method of this dog class, I'm going to teach like a two concepts in a one go, so it's like one stone and two birds. So I will return how a dog will sound. Let's say woof. I hope that's how the dog sounds. So I have created a dog class, okay, and what I have done here is that I have created one animal class. So this is our dog class. Let's create one more pet class, like for cats, let's say. So what we have done, we have animal class, and inside animal class, I mean in a animal class we have one method, that is speak. In a dog we also have a speak, and in a cat also we have a speak. So what if I created two animals out of dog and cat and try to call the speak? Then what will happen? See, the method is the same, but it will act in a different way. Check this one out. Right now I will create D as our dog's name, and I will just create object out of it, and for cat I will see cat, and I will create two objects out of it. Okay, so I have created two objects using this blueprint, and what I will do, I will try to call speak method of the dog class. Then let's see what happens, and after that I will try. So when I do that for the dog class, I am getting woof as a return, as a reply. That's how the dog speaks, right? And after that I will use this but in a different class, and I will try to get the output, and it sounds as a meow. So for the cat it is showing me the different output, for the dog it is showing me the different output, even though I have the same method name. So this phenomenon of a different behavior even you have the same method name, this is nothing but a polymorphism. And the next concept is inheritance. And what do you mean by inheritance? Let's try to see that. Let's take the same example, and now this will make sense. Why am I saying that this is a parent or base class? Let's see single inheritance first, and then we will see other types of inheritance. Let's first see the single inheritance. Right now I have created, this is a simple animal class. Okay, what other things like this class can have? I will just write something, or in here I will write some information. Let's say number of legs, and one thing to remember, always write self dot number of legs, and our pets are going to have 4 legs, so I will directly hard codedly will give that number directly. So this is our base or parent class, and now I will try to create this dog class. But what I will do, instead of having its own init method, or what I will do, see here, I can remove this init method, and instead of this I can use animal class init method in here. By that way I will inherit whatever properties and functions, methods that animal class will have into a subclass of a dog. So what we call this one as a nothing but a subclass, or we also call it as a child class. It's like a parent and child, and after parents the child inherits his parents property. It's like that. So what is happening here, child class is inheriting animal class property, these number of legs. Let's try to see what happens, and we will also see about one more concept in this. First let me create this. Okay, Now what I will try to see here, now observe carefully what will happen here. Now I will create one let's say Jimmy is our dog's name, equal to dog. Okay, we don't have to give anything as an input. Right now we have created Jimmy as our dog object, which is inheriting some properties from the animal class, and let's try to see what is that. Let's see how many legs does Jimmy have. So let's see Jimmy dot number of legs. Even if I type right now, it is giving me that suggestion, so it is definitely going to show that Jimmy have 4 legs, even though I have not written a single thing about the number of legs inside a dog class, but still this number of legs property or attribute is getting inherited from the animal class into a dog class. So this is nothing but called as an inheritance, and the example that you are looking at is nothing but an example of a simple inheritance, and it's just a single inheritance, so we call it as a single inheritance. That's it. And there is one more thing that is happening in this case, is that nothing but a method overriding. And what is method overriding? What is happening here? Even if in our first example we saw the polymorphism, right? Similar to that, if you notice that even though our animal class have its own speak method, but this is not what is going to get executed. Let's try to see, and let's see how Jimmy speaks. Let's see. So Jimmy dot speak, let's see what we get as our output. Jimmy says woof. That's what not I was expecting out of Jimmy. I was expecting animal sound, but what is happening here? What we are doing here is that method overriding. Even though our parent class have one method, but we are rewriting the same method with the same name inside our child class, then what Python will do is that it will take the latest, the child's method, right? Even though there will be lot of methods, lot of things happen in the past, but we always accept new ways. So you can also think about it like that, right? Maybe your parents used to go, even their schools maybe was at a very long distance, but they still used to walk to their schools because they do not have any other option of transportations. So their method of walking, their method of traveling was a walking, right? But as their child, what is your method of going to the school? Maybe you take a rickshaw, maybe you go by a Uber, or I don't know, maybe you go by using a bicycle or something. So that's your method. It's a child's method, and that's what it is given a preference now, right? The old method is discarded. Now who rules? A child rules now on the house. So this concept is nothing but method overriding. Now let's see what is a multiple inheritance. So I will just copy this previously written code, take it here. Multiple inheritance. Let's see what is happening in a multiple inheritance. So in multiple inheritance, what we do, rather than just taking inheritance from only one, I mean rather than just taking inheritance from only one class, one parent class, there can be multiple parents from which it is our child class is inheriting its attributes or methods. Let's see like that. In this class, what we can add one more parent class. Let's say okay, hold on a second. Instead of thing, what I will do, I will create alive, right? Alive class. And in alive class, what I will do, I will give one value, self dot is alive equal to, I don't want someone's dog to die. but okay, I will do it true. Let's say I'm creating one attribute. If that dog is alive or not, we have to check that. I mean, let's say we took that dog into hospital. It's maybe he is in a critical situation, hit by a car. Now I am being really bad. Wow. Okay, so we are creating now two classes, and now I want to inherit this alive class into my dog class. So how can I do that? I will just add comma here, and I will enter one more class name inside this one. And by using this, what I can do, I will create a, naming your variable is a really difficult task rather than coding. Like mostly we wonder like what name we should give. So I will just choose a simple name D. Our dog is called as D. What a lame name. So I have created our dog. Okay, that was fast. So I will use D dot speak to make our dog speak. This is called nothing but method overriding. We are overriding the original method of animal class with the our new method of a dog class. That's nothing but a method overriding. Then the next thing what I'm going to do now, I'm going to inherit its status if that our animal is still, I mean if that animal is alive. Okay, I want everyone's animal is alive, so I am keeping it true. So D dot is alive. Let's see what value we get. Dog object has no attribute is alive. As we are inheriting two classes, so we have to uh, initialize both of the classes inside our dog class. Let's do that. So if you see, right now I am separately initializing these parent class because we are taking multiple inheritance. So we have multiple parent classes here, so we have to initialize those first, so then we can access its value. So I am checking if dog can speak. Yes, it can speak. I can also check like how many numbers of leg it have is number of legs. If you can see, I am inheriting is alive from alive class, and the number of legs from animal class, and the speak from the dog class itself. So this concept of inheriting from multiple parents is called as a multiple inheritance. Now you may say that I don't want to construct these parent classes separately. What can I do? Anything else from this one? Then there is an option, and let's try to see, let's try to find a solution through that option. And that option is nothing but multi-level inheritance. And in multi-level inheritance, what we do, take a good look at this one. What I'm going to do here, in a alive I am giving animal class, and I am removing this one from here. That means I don't have to construct two classes separately. Instead, what I have to do, I can just refer to my parent class by using super keyword. What it means by super keyword in this one, super keyword means nothing but the parent class that I am giving inside this class. What I am doing is that, if you see, for a dog class, alive is a parent class, and for alive, animal is the parent class. So it's like a child have a father, and a father have his father, so that means a child have a grandfather, right? और बाप का एक बाप होता है और उसे हम दादाजी बोलते हैं. Let's try to run it and let's see what happens. We successfully run this one. Now let's create one more dog, D2. Okay, no more thinking on what should be the name of the dog. D2, we are getting type 1. Okay, the error is where is the error? I have to first, similar to this one, I also have to use this super init method to run here. Now this will run without an issue. Let's see. Okay, still we are getting some issue. Is alive equal to true. Alive.init takes one positional argument but two were given. What can be going wrong? It says alive.init takes one positional argument but two were given. Two positional arguments in a init. Alive.init. I think we don't need this self here, because in our super class that we are going to refer alive, there is going to be self already present there, so we don't need it again. So that's why it is saying that, but it takes one positional argument but two were given. Let's try to test it out. It's just my guess. Let's see what happens. So we have run our code successfully. Let's see if our dog is inheriting is alive. Okay, it is inheriting is alive, and let's see if it is inheriting the number of legs. Okay, so our dog is inheriting from the directly. First, what is it is doing? It is inheriting from the alive class, then alive class is inheriting from the animal class. So basically the child can have his parents property, and maybe that parent got that property from his grandfather, right? So that's the situation here. So this is nothing but multi-level inheritance. This video is now getting super long, so I will show you one block of code directly and will explain that. So what we are doing here, similar to method overriding, there is one more concept that is called as a method overloading, in which what happens is that even though you have same names of methods in a single class, but still if you give different number of parameters, it will go to that particular method. If let's say I have this add self.xy in here, and if I just give two parameters, then it will execute this method. If I give three parameters, then it will execute this method. Ideally this should happen, but Python natively does not support method overloading concept. So if I try to run this one, then it is giving me an error, because it is saying that calculator.add missing one required positional argument z. So what is happening, that this new add method is overriding the previous add method. That means that this previous add method with the two arguments never existed. So it is already overridden by the new method with the three arguments. Even though Python don't support this method overloading concept natively, if you see this current example, and if I run this code, let's see what happens. And if I use create a calculator, calc, okay, equal to calculator, and in that calculator what I will do, I will use its calculator's feature add, and I will give only two parameters. Let's see what happens. Right now I am getting an addition. Let's say what happens if I enter one more parameter as a 4. so I am getting the answer. So ideally this is not exact method overloading. Method overloading should look something like this, but you can achieve method overloading by using code something like this one, where you are adding one extra one or two. You can add as many parameters as you want. So the number of parameters, like for the by default you will have some limit to this, like minimum you need two numbers to do any calculation. So you will have at least two parameters within your function, otherwise it is not going to when the function is in a class, we call it as a method. So in a method, I will refer it as a method. When you enter only two parameters, then only it will work. But if you enter only one, then it should be giving me error. See this. It is giving me type error that missing one required positional argument y. So this is what is happening. And when I enter the right required amount of parameters, my code is working fine. What I can do, if I want to add multiple numbers, I can give some default value to it. So because of that, even if I don't enter any value inside it, it will still do that calculation for me by taking the default value. So in this case, Z is taking none as its default value and doing the calculation. This is not exactly the method overloading, but this is something like method overloading from Python. I totally get that you might be confused little bit at this point of time, because these concepts can seem little bit complicated at the beginning, but as you practice more and more, you will understand these concepts. Right now it might feel like your cute Python is becoming venomous and dangerous Python to handle. But don't worry, we are going to master this Python. If you have any sort of confusion in your head right now, you can always add your doubts inside a comment box below. I will be happy to reply to your comments and solve your doubts as much as I can. That being said, I will like to give you some homework that in which you have to create at least 5 different class, parent class, subclass, multiple inheritance, these types, all the concept that I taught. You have to apply this concept at least in 2 or 3 other types. You can also take the example of the phone and do the same thing and apply all these concepts that you learned today into that. Use it for the phone. I also told you about one more. I was talking about grandfather, parents, child. You can literally take that example and you can take arguments like how much amount of property, maybe what kind of a knowledge, what things, right, you can inherit. That being said, let's see the bright side together and keep smiling and keep coding. Thank you for watching our video. You already know what to do to stay updated with the latest content that you like, just like this one.